Jason and Rami from TheDojo. And when was the last time you had like an incident or something crazy involving streets or the streets, as Mr. Wong talked about?
For me, it was last year. I called a plumber to my house. We had a leak, and he was really aggressive with me on the phone because I wasn't home when he called me. He's like, "Oh," he was yelling at me that he didn't know where the leak was coming from, and he said, "You told me it was from under the sink." I said, "I thought it was from under the sink. I don't know where the leak was coming from."
Mm-hmm.
So he was a dick over the phone, but he said, "I'm gonna come back tomorrow with my boss, and he's gonna help me find," because they couldn't find out where the leak was coming from. So his boss, the next day they come back, and his boss is pissed off at him because he drilled like holes in our walls. He's like, he was mad. He's like, "You could have found the leak without drilling all these holes, and now we got to fix them." And he was just pissed. The boss was angry, and they started arguing. And the guy's like, my wife is 9 months pregnant. Like she was like doing like 2 weeks. She's standing at the foot of the steps. My daughters are upstairs playing. They start screaming at each other, like "fuck you," whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy, the younger guy, he storms out of my garage and slams the door. He's like, "Fuck you, I'm leaving," and leaves. And I'm like, the boss looks at me like, "Oh, I'm sorry," and he starts talking about the thing. 30 seconds later, the guy comes through the door again, slams the door open, and the boss is standing right in the doorway, and he shoulder checks him and knocks him into the wall. And I'm like, "Dude," and the boss turns like falls backwards, and the guy like walked past him. He like shoulder checked. I think he like left his tools or something. He shoulder checks and knocks him to the wall, and he starts to walk past him. The guy turns around and he punches his employee in the back of the head. And the employee turns around and slams him into and they start fighting. And in my house. So I grabbed the younger guy. I grabbed him by his neck, and I put him in a choke. I said, "You better calm the fuck down, or I'm gonna choke you unconscious." And he started to struggle for a second, and I like gave him a little squeeze,
wow.
you know, and then he like stopped. And then he's like, he pretended I didn't squeeze because I know how to squeeze and when I put pressure and when I don't. So I squeezed for a second to like let him know like, "Look, I can choke you," you know. And he's like, "Okay." And then he went. I think he realized, like, you know, like when a child gets in trouble, they pretend they're hurt. Like if one child hurts another child, and then he's like, "Well, I got hurt too," so that you feel sorry. But he pretended like he like passed out, and I'm like, "Bro, you're not asleep. Stop!" And then he like stood back up and like let him go. I'm like, "Get the fuck out of my house," you know.
Wow.
That was the last time I had an incident. So
wow.
The beauty of jiu-jitsu is you don't have to hurt the person.
Yeah.
You know, you can like take control without hurting someone. Because otherwise, I would have just been I would like hit him, or I don't know how I would have got him out of my house without, you know, stopping that, because they were going crazy in the middle of my living room.
So my question for you is, I guess it was just because the young person was closer to you, right? Because technically the employer hit him in the back of the head. So your thought was, okay, because the young person checked first, okay, and he's potentially going to do more damage if they were in a fight, I'm going to control the young person.
So like I was here.
Uh-huh.
Like I'm here, and then the employee was like the boss was standing here,
mm-hmm.
and the employee comes through the door, opens this door, and then the boss is in. He shoulder checks, and the boss goes boom into my wall, and then the boss punches him in the back of the head, and then he turns around and he grabs him and he throws him into the corner, and they start fighting like this. The younger guy's hitting his boss.
That makes sense. So being here, you're just like, okay,
I went from behind, and I grabbed him around his neck, and I just. Wow. He tried to struggle with me for a second, but then I just gave him a little pressure and choke. But I think that choke is good because it makes people like gets their attention, you know.
Totally. Even if you didn't squeeze enough to cut off the carotid, right? Just squeezing the neck muscles, it's uncomfortable.
Exactly.
It'll jolt them a little.
It makes them realize that they're thinking about this now, not about hitting that guy.
Yeah. So, did the employer bring back that employee again afterwards to fix it, or was it just the employer?
No, I told them, "Get the fuck out of my
so
house,"
both
and I called a different plumber.
Okay, good. Yeah, I mean, you know, thinking about it, this is that you had a pregnant wife, you had kids, and, you know, stuff happens, you react, right? So I think it was a very good muscle memory reaction that jiu-jitsu taught you.
Right, you don't know what's gonna happen. Like, what if he had gone to his car and got a knife, or I don't even know what happened. You know, crazy stuff's gonna go on. So I don't want it to get worse. Yeah. I just want to get control of the situation and get them out. Yeah. And put my family to be safe. You know? Yeah.
Did the employer try to call you afterwards and apologize?
No. Shocking.
Wow.
No. Wow. And I was surprised because you think that like, hey, I'm really sorry. In fact, the employee called me a couple of days later to complain that he said that I squeezed too hard on his neck, and he wanted his tools back.
Oh, he left his tools at your place?
Yeah, because he told him to get out, So I don't know. It's just I left my tools in the front yard, and I said, "You can come get your tools," and that was it.
Wow.
But come on.
Yeah, that's
instead of saying, "Hey," well, he did apologize. He said, "I'm really sorry about what happened, but you didn't have to squeeze so hard." That's what he said. I was like, "Dude, you don't even know. I could have squeezed a lot harder."
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. What about you, Rami? When's the last time you had a crazy incident?
I mean, it's been a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, you've had a few, huh?
I mean, it's been for sure at least 15 years since
really?
I've gotten in when I spend all my time in poker rooms or online, so it's...
So normally poker rooms are pretty chill.
Or, I mean, if it's any sort of incident, they're 60-year-olds or they're not really threats. So
I see.
Really
It might just be one or two people getting angry, and then that's it.
Yeah.
I see. What about that time at the Dave & Buster's? We can briefly talk about that.
Well, he could probably do a little better.
Okay. All right.
Better job explaining that because I was...
Sure.
So we just watched the Uriah Faber fight.
Yeah.
The next day, literally the next day, that was on a Friday night. Rami's birthday was on Saturday.
Wow.
Okay, so Rami has 2 black eyes, and we went out for his birthday to Dave & Buster's. Why we went to Dave & Buster's for his 26? How old were you? 20, 22? Sorry about that. We should have taken you somewhere better, but. Anyway, we went. Yeah, they had Pizookies.
Oh no, they didn't. That's.
No, that was the. You're right. That was the pizza place, BJ's Pizza.
Yeah,
But anyway, we went to Dave & Buster's at Irvine Spectrum, and they were doing construction on the bathrooms, so we had to go outside to go to the bathroom. So I went outside by myself to go to the bathroom, and I'm walking back to Dave & Buster's, and he calls. I get a call from him. He's like, "Meet me by the water fountain." I'm like, okay, so I go to the water fountain. And then I see him walking toward me, and we start. And I don't really know what's going on at this moment. And then I just see him look, and he runs, but he meets these guys, 2 guys and 2 girls walking toward us. And he takes off his glasses and he goes, "Does it look like I want to be wearing these fucking glasses?" And he spits on the guy.
Wow.
And the guy whatever, they starts talking shit, and then. They squared up. There was no they just both squared off, and I'll let you take it from there. Do you remember?
I mean, they walked by and they said something about. I mean, I was, I kind of looked like a douchebag wearing big old sunglasses at nighttime at Dave & Buster's, but I didn't appreciate whatever the hell they said, and I was somehow I made sure to call him before I started a fight that I probably couldn't win 2-on-1.
Oh God, he would have trashed these guys.
Well, I mean, I was concussed from the day before, also
right.
from Uriah, and my face, if you touched my face, I would have started bleeding.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah. These guys look like. I mean, they're the kind of guys who would say something to somebody. You know what I mean? Who would just say that to somebody. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You could just tell. And then his girlfriend's like, "You're gonna," because the guy was bigger. She's like, "You're gonna get your ass kicked, little man." And it's like, oh, she doesn't even know what is about to happen right now. Yeah. So I just stood back, and they start fighting, and then Rami throws a jab and hits him. And the guy goes, "Who the fucking pussy throws a jab in a street fight?" This guy's just throwing out these one-liners, And then Rami took him down into the bushes, and they start fighting. Well, they don't fighting. I just hear he takes the guy down. And they fall into the bushes. So Rami mounts him, and the guy's legs are sticking out of the bushes, but their upper bodies are in the bushes. So you just see the guy's legs, right? And I just see the guy's legs flailing, and then I hear, and then all of a sudden his legs just go.
So he got knocked down. Sorry. Yeah.
I'm not making him sound great, I guess, but. It was definitely mutual combat, and we were young and stupid. We've all done stupid things.
Exactly.
We alongside we should have just let them go and walk away, whatever. But it is what it is.
Yeah, it is what it is.
But the guy's girlfriend the whole time, or not the whole time, but she started to hit Rami in the back of the head as he's on top. So I tried to move her out of the way. I'm like, just let him fight. Then she starts to then she hit me.
Oh.
I'm like, don't hit me. She hit me again. Like, stop fucking hitting me. But I didn't hit her back.
Oh, you didn't hit her. Did you try to control her at all?
I just held her back with one hand. And the guy's friend, like, he didn't get involved either. He kind of just stayed back and watched.
Wow.
It's funny, actually. I recognized the guy's friend from middle school, but I didn't. We never. I didn't acknowledge. I don't think he recognized me. And anyway, long story short, that was the only time I've ever seen Rami. No, I get another street fight story.
Okay,
he saved my life one time in a street fight.
Mm-hmm.
This one was my fault. My friends, we were at a night bar in Newport Beach, and one of my friends drank too much and got really sick. So they kicked him out of the club, and he was sitting on the curb throwing up. Mm-hmm. Not the club; it was a bar. We're making ourselves sound like idiots, but it is what it is. So we were sitting on the street throwing up, and I went outside with him. And a group of several guys, maybe 6 or 7 guys, walks by us with a group of girls. So an equal amount of ratio of girls to guys. And they start laughing and like making fun of my friend for throwing up. And I was like, pardon me, YouTube, but I said, how did a bunch of faggots like you get girls like this? You know? And then one of the guys is like, got pissed off. And I'm like, let's go in the back. So we go in the back. And I square up with him, but I realize quickly now, it's not just me and him. It's like 6 or 7. They're all coming at me. And I'm like, oh shit. And my back is to the wall and I'm ready to fight. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to get my ass kicked right now. And I threw like a Hail Mary kick. And they all backed, they're coming at me and they all like jumped back like a couple feet. And that bought me like a minute of time. And out of nowhere, I see him come from the side and he grabs one of them by the head. Boom! And just nails the guy out. The guy, I don't know if he's out, but he was just out of the equation from there. And then that kind of like flustered them, and then it gave us enough chance to kind of break, and then we were able to. There was a little bit more from there, but like if he hadn't have done that, I would have gotten pounded because
7 people.
There was like I was just getting like, whoa, shit, I'm in trouble. But that was enough. That was enough to, because like. Street fight is about timing, right? Like the split seconds matter. If he had been there 3 seconds later, I would have probably got pummeled. But he just enough time to create that like confusion to where we were able to make our space and get away. Yeah. So if he hadn't been there, I would have, because I had nowhere to go and they were just like coming in.
Wow.
I may have gotten a couple shots before I got pounded.
Yeah. It's like kind of mindset too, because there were 7 of them, but as soon as something like weird happened, none of them, or maybe one of them wanted to fight. The other 6 got like...
Right, they weren't that committed.
They got shocked or someone who came out of nowhere.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
They just expected to slowly like...
Right. Like you said, they weren't like fighters. They were just... They probably didn't even want to be doing that, right? It was just one guy who was committed and the rest of them were just...
They'll follow the lead, but as soon as something scares them a little bit...
It's like coyotes or like a pack of like a wolf. Once the leaders gets hurt, the rest of them scatter. Yeah, so he rescued me that night.
Yeah.
I owe him a deal of gratitude for that.
Yeah. And that's the whole reason we talk about and share these stories, because there's important lessons for, God forbid, if you ever get into these, right? That's what we talk about on the dojo and things like that. We try to hopefully learn from other people's mistakes, but if we get into any of these incidents ourselves, it's very good lessons for situations that you might get in.
Right.
And this psychology thing is so important because very few times, if there's 7 people, all 7 want to fight at exactly the same type of intensity and exactly the same type of commitment.
Right. It's not like a Hollywood movie where everyone's going to take their turn, right? Yeah. The rest of them were probably apprehensive in the first place. Yeah. And I could even see it. Like when I threw that one kick, they're all like this, but that one guy was determined. He kept being the aggressor. Yeah. And then, but Rami got the other guy was his friend. The other guys were kind of discombobulated, and then actually I kicked the guy in the head, and I was wearing shoes, and my shoe flew. I was like it didn't land hard. I like grazed him, and I lost my shoe. I remember him saying, "Oh, that was nice."
And then Rami went and got his friend.
This was after.
Oh, this is afterwards.
Yeah, Rami needed his friend. The other guys kind of scattered, and I kicked the one guy, and then. Actually, what really happened is we ran because I was able to make my space. So we ran, and as I saw after that guy, my friend who was throwing up stood up at this point, and he was like stumbling around, and then one of those 7 pushed him into the street.
Ooh!
And he fell like literally fell into the street just like a drunk guy, and if there had been a car, he would have been hit.
Ooh!
And and I just ran like full speed ahead, and the guy didn't see me coming. Right at the last second, my fist was like here, and he like turned to see me, and he went, oh, boom! I hit him, and he like spun, and like he didn't fall completely down, but he like spun in circles, and that took him out of the fight too. So, and that was it. Then I think at that point, the cops may have even started to come or something.
Wow.
But they got in their car or whatever, and I picked my friend up and we got out of there. But if it had been somebody, like, not all of your friends are always going to be, like, fortunately it was him.
Yeah.
And not my friend, I won't even say his name, but like it was my friend who I won't say his name, I was definitely going to get my ass kicked against the wall that night. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's another important lesson,
I'll let
guys.
you think over that.
Yeah. Another important lesson. You gotta think about the people around you, man. If you're gonna be in a situation there might be trouble, make sure you got people who have your back. That's the key, man. I've had lots of friends who haven't had my back, and I had to cut them off. You know, I had quite a few incidents. One time I got pushed. The guy's like, huh? What happened? I just got pushed. That's what happened. He was like, he didn't even react. He was like, Joe, are you okay? Like, no, like, you know, like, hey, the guy tried to fight me. Don't act like,
Right.
You know, some people, it takes them time to process. You definitely don't want
What did you do? What happened?
I was just trying to talk. I was just in a bar talking to people, and he didn't like me. He pushed me. He's like, I don't like Asians.
And what happened? Like,
I laughed and I walked away.
Yeah, see, right.
Yeah.
Which is what I should have, like, looking back, first of all, I shouldn't have been at the bar in the first place. Shouldn't be drinking. Like, every dumb thing I've ever done is because I've been drunk. Not every dumb thing. I've done a lot of dumb things.
I mean,
really
we all done dumb things, yeah.
But, so first of all, I shouldn't have been at the bar. Second, I shouldn't have been drinking. Third, I should have just let them walk and keep talking and just run on with my life. Fourth, I shouldn't have agreed to go fight 7 guys inside of the parking lot. So there's just so many bad decisions that I made. So it's not like it's not like I was in the right, you know. But the guy in my house is different. Like, somebody's inside your house, you have to take control of the situation.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
So don't go out getting in stupid street fights. But when the time comes to be, sometimes you have no choice.
Yeah, yeah.
Most of the time you do have.
You do it, yeah, exactly. So remember, guys, context really matters. Guys, if you go on the dojo, I'm gonna share with you guys a bonus story. Anyways, this is Jason and Rami, and go on the dojo. Bonus story for me.